Now, you know, at Christmas, when everybody's trying to get round the table and there's not enough room, look, we've filled our benches here on our Sunrise set because we want to talk about dogs. Animal charities have been urging us for years not to give a dog as a surprise Christmas present, obviously, but it still happens every single year. Let me introduce you. Right next to me, Peter Egan, and then Mark Abraham, who is the founder of dog charity Pup Aid, and then Yogamaya von Hippel. Was that close enough?
Yeah.
Thank you. From Battersea Dogs and Cats Home, and she's brought a four-legged friend, Dash, who needs a home, and then the other two at the end don't need any explaining. Equally as keen on dogs as me, and so they wanted to join in as well. Tell me about the dog first of all.
So this is Dash. He's a 2-year-old licher. He's been in our care now for about 8 days. He arrived as a stray, so we don't know much about him. He's a lovely, excitable dog and looking for a home for Christmas. Unfortunately, he will be spending his day in Battersea, but we are hoping that maybe someone at home might want to give him a home for Christmas.
Okay, where was he found? What was this?
So he just arrived as a stray. We don't know much about him other than he just was brought in by a person.
How do you know how old he is?
So we estimate dogs' ages based on their teeth and their condition and their coat condition. So we've aged him as around 2 years old.
Okay, Peter, you're a huge dog fan.
I am indeed, yes. I've got, well, I had 6, sadly I lost 2 in the summer. I've got 4 rescues at the moment. I've got a Staffy cross, a Staffy, a small German Shepherd, a Labrador.
A small German Shepherd.
Yeah,
That's a contradiction in terms, isn't
well, in
it?
fact, I think it's a kind of sort of a moggy rather than a pure German Shepherd.
Okay.
They're all rescues, of course. I mean, all my dogs are rescues. I've never bought a dog from a pet shop or from a breeder, and they're all rescues from sanctuaries, which is...
And never buy puppies, especially at Christmas. You were telling us, Richard, that you were Googling what the top words were on Google this year.
Yeah, you can look on Google and see the search terms and how often they've been searched and when they've been searched the most. And I just looked at the word puppy, and actually the day of the year that the word puppy was searched the most was December the 20th. This year. Now, there could be many reasons for that. It doesn't tell you what the reasons are, but I think it is telling.
Yes, it's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what you would say shouldn't happen.
Absolutely. I mean, we can only assume that the reason that puppy is featured so highly on the trending is because people are searching for a puppy. Classically, they are the ultimate Christmas present, but we know now that anyone breeding a puppy for the Christmas market is breeding irresponsibly. Also, you know, puppies aren't presents. It's a terrible time of year to bring a dog into the household. Most households are chaotic. There's a lot of dangers around. Obviously, there's chocolate and raisins and fairy lights and tinsel, all these dangers, turkey carcasses. So it's the worst time of year to really bring a pet into your home, puppy or adult dog. And also, every time a puppy is given as a present, we're ignoring dogs like Dash, who desperately need loving forever homes. So really the message is wait until New Year. If you really want a dog, wait until New Year, go to a rescue centre like Battersea and save a dog's life. Simple as that.
And do you find, Yogamaya, that you do have a lot more people coming at Christmas time to look for dogs?
We don't actually have that much of a spike directly after Christmas, but in March we do, and we do often feel that a lot of those dogs or kittens and puppies are likely presents that have been bought at Christmas, and the likelihood is they've got a bit big or the owners didn't necessarily look into how much work they need, and they then would come into us. We do get dogs in on Christmas Day, so last year we did actually have 3 dogs brought in on Christmas Day, and we are there with 50 members of staff, 50 volunteers that are all there making sure that the animals are cared for and looked after today.
And why have you always bought rescues, Peter?
Well, one, because there are so many dogs that are abandoned, and because you can't really trust where the dogs come from when you buy it through a variety of outlets, and there are so many dubious outlets that exist buying dogs online, people who will deliver dogs to a car park. You know, it's all illegal dog breeding, and it's rampant throughout England and Wales, and these dogs all suffer, and you never know where they came from, you never know where their mother is, and they also get chucked out because it's more more financially efficient to get rid of the dog quickly.
We were talking about this just the other day, Mark, on the telly, weren't we?
We were, only last week, in fact. The problem is we have an illegal puppy trade, but we also have a legal puppy trade. And legislation at the moment allows dogs to be bred en masse in puppy farms, for example, 200 breeding bitches in Wales, transported via dealer network to pet shops to third-party sales. So really the only solution to puppy farming, to impulse purchasing, to disposable pet culture is to only see the puppy with its mum. It has to be interacting with its mum. If you want a dog, it's puppy with mum, or go to a rescue. If those are the only options, you cannot legitimise a trade that technically is responsible for so much cruelty.
You love dogs, don't you?
Well, at Christmas time, when we're here on the sofa with the doggies, I love giving them a good stroke and stuff. And Dash here just gave me a lick, and I got a lick last year from the other dog that we had. I think they like me too.
I suppose my question is it viable or even a good idea to stop people or even ban people from buying dogs at this time of year? I mean, is that something that is workable?
I don't think you can stop or ban people buying dogs, but you can educate, you can raise awareness, you can certainly promote rescue pets as the option, as a viable option. But to be honest with you, if the puppy's interacting with its mum and it's a nice, responsible breeder, there's no reason why people shouldn't buy that dog. It's going to be a well-adjusted family pet, it's going to last for 15 years, it's going to be a great animal. The problem is when people impulse buy, they get puppies delivered to their door, as Peter's pointed out. This is a legal trade, and it's something that the government can actually do something about. If you ban the third-party sale of puppies, you make sure everyone goes to the breeder, everyone ends up with a well-adjusted, lovely dog that's not going to bite and it's not going to soil everywhere and it's going to be a good family pet, gives dog great PR, and then more people will want dogs.
Okay, so this is my programme. I wanted to sit next to the dog and everybody else is sat next to the dog instead of me. What is it about dogs, not just at Christmas, but at all times of year, that make people... I was reading an article, Peter, just during the week, saying that they have empathy
yes,
with us. Yes,
they're extraordinary dogs. They do amazing things for us. In fact, some scientists have said that were it not for dogs, that man would still be a hunter-gatherer, and maybe that's true. They just bring extraordinary things into our lives, and generally it is to do with compassion and love and giving. And, you know, I really believe we have the wrong kind of take on what dogs are. We don't own dogs. We're lucky to have them. And so I think, you know, we have to accept that a dog, like any other member of our family, is a responsibility. I'm responsible for all of my dog's actions. I'm responsible for whether the dog eats, whether it's comfortable, whether it drinks, and also whether it socially interacts. And so I think it is to do with the extraordinary kind of commitment it brings out in us, as well as the love. And I think that's important.
Mark, how am I going to train my puppies? A nightmare.
Train your puppy?
Yeah.
I'll give you a hand training your puppies.
But it's really, you have to be a responsible dog
obviously.
owner. You have to be able to train them, don't you? And although he's being very well behaved, Dash sitting there, there is a responsibility, like with children, to be able to make sure that they behave properly in whatever circumstances you take them.
Absolutely. I mean, you take on a dog, it's a responsibility. You know, you work with dog trainers, you ask your vet for a qualified dog behaviourist, make sure it's reward-based, you never sort of punish by beating them or using prong collars, and you will have, again, a well-adjusted dog that's well socialised as a pup, and will make a great family pet. Worth pointing out, you know, rescue dogs are bargains. Obviously, they're a lot less than a pedigree purebred pup or crossbred like a cockapoo, but they're neutered, they're chipped, they're house-trained, they're vaccinated, they're defleed. These are great pets. They're ready-made pets, and they shouldn't be overlooked. And the reasons that they're relinquished and abandoned these days are very different to the olden days. You know, people haven't got any money anymore. People go into temporary accommodation. These are great pets. They deserve a second chance. Please rescue.
And will Dash get at home soon, do you think?
Hopefully, yeah, hopefully. Maybe someone's watching at home and thinking that they need a lovely litter to come and keep them company on the sofa. He absolutely loves exercise, so he'd love to go to a home where he's running around.
I think
Dash wants to go home with
Naz. I think that's that way, doesn't it?
He is beautiful.
Dash has chosen its owner.
And also, these dogs are wonderful because they're either all out when they're running, or when they're at home, they're all out and they're sleeping. So they're really terrific pets to have.
Perfect cuddle buddy.
And what do we do if we want to offer him a home?
So yeah, you can. We're actually closed to the public today, but if you'd like to go onto our website, you can email us, or you can also contact our dog rehoming team and just say that you'd like to give Dash a home, and one of our colleagues will get back in touch with you as soon as they're free from looking after the animals.
And there's lots of others.
Yeah,
like
lots of
Dash
So
as well.
today there's 300 dogs and 200 cats across all three of our centres in our care, and they'll each get a Christmas meal with trimmings and also an individual present to open. So that's great.
That's great. Thank you all very much indeed for coming in. Very
Thanks for
Christmas.
inviting
Thank
us.
you very much indeed. And really interesting to see that Dash has exactly the same view on Richard's sweater as we do. He just can't look at it anymore.